All right, let's dive right in. We're going to explore a kind of dark fable, a story about a city that is forced to confront the rot in its own foundation. And this isn't just a story about monsters. It's about meaning, security, and that fire that's deep inside all of us. And this idea, wow, it just sets the stage perfectly, doesn't it? The greatest horrors aren't some external force that comes for you in the night. No, they're the decay we let fester inside ourselves. And that is the central, painful truth our city is about to learn the hard way.
Okay, so where does our story even begin? Well, it starts in a city that's completely shrouded in what the source material calls a heavy fog of nihilism. The old beliefs, the gods that once gave life meaning and structure, they're gone. And what's left is this vacuum, this emptiness where faith used to be.
And they have a name for this period, Sanctus Januarius. It's like this icy, chilling dawn after the death of God. Without that old sun of divine guidance, the people are just left out in the cold. They're spiritually unprotected, and they're searching for anything, absolutely anything to fill that void. And this vulnerability, this is the crack in the foundation where the nightmare starts to seep in. So you've got this vacuum, right? And guess what steps in to fill it? A new power. A kind of false savior that promises a solution, a whole new kind of order. But as you can probably guess, this promise comes with a hidden and very, very heavy price. This quote just nails the deception, doesn't it? The citizens, they're so desperate for security that they willingly accept a form of bondage. They don't see it as a leash that's holding them back. Oh no, they see it as a golden chain, a symbol of value, of safety. They literally trade their freedom for just the illusion of stability. So who are these people who would make a deal like this? The source material calls them the last man. Now, these aren't evil people. Not at all. But they are people who've lost their ambition for anything great. They choose comfort over challenge, safety over struggle. All they want is a mediocre contentment, and it's that exact desire that makes them the perfect followers for this new power. And this is the bargain laid bare. I mean, just look at this exchange. The citizens trade away the lightning of the spirit, that brilliant, unpredictable, creative spark inside of them. And what do they get for it? The dull glow of a street lamp. It's predictable, yeah, it's safe, but it's completely and utterly uninspiring. So this new power, this new idol, is also called the cold monster. It offers an artificial framework for life, but it works by devaluing this world, our actual existence. It promises safety, but let's be clear, this kind of safety is stagnation. The source calls it a slow suicide of all, which is just this gradual snuffing out of everything that makes life vibrant and worth living. And who's pulling the strings? Who's the architect of this whole system? He's called the Archivist. And listen, this isn't some roaring tyrant. It's something way more insidious. He's a calm, bureaucratic minister of negation. He doesn't conquer with armies. He conquers by managing the city's decay, by organizing its surrender of spirit, and cataloging its slow death. He is the true villain of our story. You know, a city built on a foundation this rotten, well, it's just not going to last, right? The bill always comes due. And the reckoning for this city isn't going to come from outside. It's going to come from deep within. But think about it. What really happens when you suppress all that darkness? When you just bury the warnings and pretend the rot isn't there? Do the nightmares just go away? No, not even close. They don't disappear. Instead, one night, the sky breaks. A simple, terrifying statement that signals the end of the city's comfortable little denial. And what comes out of that broken sky is something called a wingspan dread. But here's the absolute key to understanding this. This is not an invading monster. The source calls it a confession. It is the physical manifestation of all the darkness the city tried so hard to ignore. It is their own collective shadow, come to life. So what fed this thing? What gave it all its power? Well, the source is really specific. It was fueled by generations of ignored warnings, all the little cruelties that were excused or just overlooked, and all the griefs that were buried instead of actually being dealt with. Every moral shortcut, every compromise, it all became fuel for the fire that would eventually consume them. Wow. Just think about that image for a second. The horizon, which is usually a symbol of hope, of the future, it becomes a mouth ready to just devour the city. This means a total, inescapable self-destruction. There is literally nowhere to run when the world you've built turns against you. But believe it or not, total destruction isn't the end of the story here. From the ashes of this self-inflicted catastrophe, there is a lesson. There is a path forward, but it's a hard one. It requires tearing everything down to build anew.
And this process has a name, the downgoing. It's not just about cleaning up the rubble. It's a deliberate act of self-sacrifice. It means you have to actively dismantle the old, false beliefs, the comforts of the golden leash, the safety of stagnation, just to create space for something authentic and new to grow.
So how do you do it? Well, the path to liberation has 3 major steps. First, you have to dismantle the old structures. Second, you have to reject the poisoners, people like the archivist who promise you comfort in exchange for your soul. And third, you have to write a new truth, not with ink, but with blood, meaning through lived, difficult, and meaningful experience.
And this is the philosophical heart of it all. It's this massive shift in perspective, from being a passive victim of your circumstances, just saying it was, to becoming an active creator who can look back and say, thus I willed it. It's about reclaiming your own agency.
So all of this, the collapse, the destruction, the downgoing, it all leads to one final choice. A fundamental choice between 2 totally different ways of being in the world.
See, the path of the creator is one of affirmation. It requires the pride of the eagle, which is about seeing the world from a higher perspective, and the wisdom of the serpent, which is about being grounded and clever. And crucially, it involves a promise to remain true to the earth, to find meaning in this life, not in some other promised comfort somewhere else.
And this table just lays it all out crystal clear. The last man's goal? Mediocre contentment. The fellow creator's goal? To be the meaning of the earth. One is a passive brick in a wall built by the archivist. The other is an active, brilliant lightning bolt. The choice is between the stagnation of that golden leash and the unpredictable power of the creative fire.
And ultimately, that's the real goal, isn't it? It's not just to be free from the archivist, it's to ignite that fire within, to become a source of value and meaning in a world that might have lost its gods.
And so, this fable leaves us with a question that echoes far beyond its imaginary city walls and right into our own lives. Surrounded by our own versions of cold monsters and golden chains, which fire will you choose to feed? The dull glow of a street lamp or the lightning of your own spirit?